Welcome to the F-Bound Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Schroeder, Executive Function Coach. I help neurodivergent women learn tips and strategies to improve the life skills that will help them be successful. How setting intentional time limits can simplify decision making. Making decisions can feel overwhelming, especially when your brain doesn't always cooperate the way you'd like. Sometimes you might find yourself stuck, replaying the options over and over, only to end up more stressed. That's where setting intentional time limits comes in. By giving yourself a clear window to decide, you reduce the pressure and make room for progress instead of perfection. For neurodivergent women, this approach can help cut through the noise, offering structure without feeling rigid. It's not about rushing. It's about creating boundaries that help you move forward with confidence. Understanding intentional time limits. When was the last time you stared at a menu, unable to decide what to order? It happens to all of us. It's human nature. For neurodivergent women, though, these pauses can stretch from curious indecision to overwhelming mental roadblocks. Intentional time limits bring a layer of clarity to decision-making. The science behind time limits. Ever been so overwhelmed by choices that you just gave up? That's called analysis paralysis. When you're stuck weighing every possible outcome, your brain burns out. Studies have shown that introducing time constraints can significantly reduce overthinking while boosting focus. Why? Because deadlines force your brain to prioritize. According to research on productivity, setting a clear time frame helps filter out unnecessary noise in the decision-making process. The Todoist blog highlights that time limits push you to make choices that are good enough rather than agonizing over perfection. A reasonable boundary can actually free you because it reduces the mental clutter that slows you down. Benefits for neurodivergent women. If you're neurodivergent, you might already know that your brain interacts with time differently. Maybe tasks feel either impossible or urgent, with little room in between. For you, intentional time limits aren't just helpful, they're a form of self-care. One of the key advantages for neurodivergent women is reducing sensory and cognitive overload. When decisions stay open-ended, your brain might struggle to sort through the flood of possibilities. Imposing a time limit helps close those loops and combat that overwhelming sense of too many tabs open in my head. Another benefit, it creates an anchor for emotional regulation. Decision-making often gets tangled with anxiety for neurodivergent people. When you introduce a manageable time frame, you bypass much of the hand-wringing over making the perfect choice. Lastly, structured time frames can boost your productivity by syncing with your natural energy peaks. Ever notice how some hours feel like golden opportunities while others are a slog? With intentional time limits, you can focus on making decisions when your brain feels on instead of dragging through a dim mental fog. Strategies for implementing time limits. When it comes to making decisions, having clear time limits can work wonders. It's not about rushing yourself, it's about guiding your mind to focus. Setting realistic time frames. Not all decisions need the same amount of time. Picking a lunchbox? 5 minutes may do. Deciding on a career move? That's a different story. The key is matching the time allotment to the complexity of the decision. For simple daily choices, stick to short intervals like 2 to 10 minutes. Give yourself enough time to consider options, but not so much that you overthink. For moderately complex decisions, set a limit based on the information required. For instance, if you're organizing finances, you might allocate 30 minutes to review your budget and finalize a plan. Big life-altering choices may need staged time frames. Start with a brainstorming session, take a break, then revisit for a final decision. Each stage should have a specific time window. If you're unsure how much time a decision needs, think about the possible consequences. Life-changing decisions deserve more consideration than everyday ones. Using timers and alarms. Timers are your best friend for maintaining focus. Whether it's an alarm on your phone or a kitchen timer, these visual or auditory reminders help keep you on track. Alarm signals. Use alarms for shorter decision-making moments. For example, set a 3-minute alarm for committing to a restaurant when ordering takeout. Visualization tools. Digital apps like TickTick or Forest let you visually track your time, which can be especially helpful for neurodivergent brains that thrive on visual processing. Timers add structure to your time frame and wake you up when distractions creep in. Overcoming challenges with time limits. Time pressures might feel like a ticking clock hovering over you, amplifying the stress and hesitation in decision making. Managing anxiety around time constraints. The anxiety that accompanies deadlines is real. You might feel frozen, unable to act, or overly concerned about making the perfect choice. Here's how to calm the storm and keep moving forward. Break it down. When a time limit feels overwhelming, split it into smaller chunks. For example, if you have 30 minutes to make a decision, spend 10 minutes gathering information, 10 minutes evaluating options, and the last 10 for finalizing. This prevents one big block of stress from taking over. Use mindful breathing. A few deep breaths can do wonders to ground you when the clock feels like it's running too fast. Try inhaling for 4 counts, hold for 7, and exhaling for 8. Reframe the deadline. Instead of thinking about what happens if you don't finish in time, focus on what you can achieve within that window. Remind yourself that a good enough decision is better than no decision at all. Ask for help. If anxiety is causing brain fog, don't hesitate to bounce ideas off someone you trust. Sometimes hearing another perspective can unlock clarity. Flexibility and adaptation. Sometimes time limits don't fit the situation perfectly. Maybe you've underestimated how much time a task needs, or unexpected roadblocks throw you off course. Adapting is key to keeping your momentum. Stay fluid. Think of your time limit as a guideline, not a rigid rule. If you bump up against it and still need a few extra minutes, give yourself some grace. Flexibility is part of the process. Learn and adjust. Missed a deadline? Analyze what happened. Did you need more prep time? Did distractions sneak in? Use this insight to refine your future time limits instead of beating yourself up. Accept the unexpected. Life is unpredictable. Plans shift, and that's okay. Building your schedule with a bit of wiggle room ensures you're not thrown off course by minor delays or changes. Flexibility doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're human. Being open to change is a strength. Every time you adjust, you're fine-tuning your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. Remember, time limits are tools to guide you, not chains to bind you. Anxiety and life's curveballs might make them hard to stick to at first, but with the right mindset, you can take control and feel less overwhelmed. Intentional time limits can shift decision-making from overwhelming to manageable. They cut through the noise, giving you a sense of control and direction. Start small. Choose one decision today and set a timer. See how it feels to let go of perfection and embrace progress. This isn't about creating pressure, it's about making space for clarity. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the F-Bomb podcast. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe below and check out my show notes to learn more about my Facebook group, courses, and membership.